Okay, hey everybody. So I'm making a follow-up video to the last one I make. This time it's actually going to be entirely talked through in real time. I'm changing up the gear ever so slightly because I kind of realized that it might be because for someone trying to go for the first quiver, they might see some of the things I had like full Torva, Ultor, and Scythe, and think like, oh, this is too much. I can't get all this. Like I don't have a shadow. I can't one-shot everything. So show everything right here so you can see it all on screen. This is kind of like, I'd say almost borderline joke armor, what I've got on right now. This is just Elite Black Knight, this is just Proselyte. I'm using a Fang. This is actually an okay budget option for everything before Soul. Barrow's Gloves, because whatever. I guess you can kind of ignore the Infernal Cape and Golemel's Defender, because I'm going to be using Ring of Shadows instead of Berserker Ring, just to kind of like average stats down without me having to go grind out pieces of gear that I don't want to be getting. I'm still bringing a Tent Whip for the Soul fight itself. You do need a slash weapon, and if you don't have something like a Noxious Halberd, a Scythe, Soul Reaper Axe, the Tent Whip, I think, is right around nearly the same DPS that you can get out of Blade of Saildor for a fraction of the price. Like I said, you do not want to be using the Fang on Soul. You want to be using the Tent Whip. Other things of import. The entirety of the Mage Switch has been changed out for Trident of the Seas. I just filled this thing up. I just need a chart. I just wanted a chart stuff that can hit at least a 24, which this will do. You could technically use Undead Grasp on this, and this will have the same exact effect because it maxes at 24. However, I don't think that's a good idea for people going for their first quiver, so I'm not going to be recommending that. We're still using the Blood Fury and Ceridoma Godsword to maintain our health and prayer points. I think pretty much this should be a staple for anyone that's not looking to speedrun everything. The weird one, okay, actually no, there's a couple weird items in the inventory you're going to see. First weird one, the Dark Bow. Why are we bringing this? My reason for bringing the Dark Bow is that it is the cheapest and most accessible item that allows you to one-shot one-click the Fremnik Seer. You'll see what I'm talking about when you get into Wave 1. I'm not going to be slowing it down like I did last time. You'll just have to see I click it one time and it dies. The second weird one is going to be the Crystal Bow. I was looking for a cheap 10-tile ranged weapon because I don't have a bow and I don't have any intention of buying one for the foreseeable future. The Dark Bow is actually pretty garbage DPS, and the Crystal Bow is pretty much the same thing but better if your concern is just doing damage over a long period of time. This will come in if we get a very bad solve that just meleeing things doesn't work out for. I think my defenses are probably not even half of what I had in the Torva setup last time I went in, and what you see in inventory is what I intend on using. I had one more super combat here. The ranging pod is really just if we end up in the situation where I want to be crystal bowing things and I don't want it to take forever. We bring in 3 brews instead of just the 2 I had last time, just to cover for a couple of mistakes. And everything else is going to be super restores. This gear happens to get a lot of prayer bonus, so my guess is that we're going to have a ton of super restores left, assuming we actually get the KC. And I'm going to try to get this all done in one take if at all possible. So, readjust the UI real quick, get back where I want them to be. And let's pot up. Some of this stuff is going to wind up being silent if there's really nothing to talk about, but I will try to go through some of my thought process in real time, rather than trying to give you the voiceover in retrospect. So we're still going to be doing kind of the same thing we did before. We're going to drop some potions. I'm not even bothering on charging the Trident here. There's not really a purpose to that. We always start Blasphemy, doesn't even matter. Notice the big difference here. It takes 2 hits. We just do a normal Ceridoma Godsword whack. We actually don't need to be doing this switch. This is unnecessary. Bad muscle memory. You notice the Osmoden's Fang? It's pretty similar damage to a lot of creatures here. Not terrible DPS. Or the Trident, because we're all going to take that. Take Myopia. Alright, so we see this guy rolling up first, immediately switch Prey Mage. The second hit in. We already have Augury on, so we're good. We can just take that one shot here, switch. Searching for back weapon. Awesome. I gotta get things in my inventory slightly better. My inventory doesn't usually look like this, so I'm having a tough time finding where things are supposed to be. Yeah, so, you know, it took much longer to get everything killed than last time, and all the while I had the Serpent Shaman hitting me, so I'm just kind of... There's only one monster here, so I'm just ignoring it. It's a little bit slightly harder later, but we'll get there when we get there. Wave's pretty much solved. Really to talk about here. Yeah, notice these waves are so slow, I actually am able to get an entire second death charge off here. Cool. Just make the one switch. Might be a blasphemy. It doesn't really matter which of these two you take. I'm just gonna take my Abia. Muscle memory's getting the better of me right here. Switch to Dark Bow after we get that guy killed. And we're chilling. Take as much time as... So, just use that for a second. Wait for his next attack. Pray, off take this. We pray Mage first. Use Mages in the back. Always back then front. We want everything pulled up right here. Now the Jaguar's going to pull up. It's either going to pull up directly where the cursor is, or it's going to pull up next to this Javelin. Doesn't really matter. That was early on. So here we can actually force this little stack to kind of go horizontal from my perspective, which is kind of nice. Not like maxing a 44th Fang, however, but it's just what I've done to myself with this awful gear. No, I'm noticing my prayer potion, or not prayer potion, super combat is going to run out partway through the next wave. I think I had a little bit of lag right there. That's fine. I brought a lot extra, so I'm not going to be tight, and it'll be okay if I end up having to brew at some point. Fortunately, just going to go sweet time. We've got tons of prayer bonus, so my guess is not going to be going through supplies anytime soon. Probably should have summoned a Thrall a little bit earlier. The times that I have to use a Thrall might be different from you depending on what your combat achievements look like. I have the Master tier done. So I get 50% longer Thralls. So I don't like taking Manti Mayhem. We're just going to take my up. I'm going to wait a second for this Divine Super Combat to go through. And we're just going to pot over regular Super Combat here. This wave 5 is like nothing particularly dangerous going on here. Same tile. Taken care of. Notice that Manticore got charged, but... Oh, we're on wave 4. I've been overcomplicating this a lot. For some reason I thought we were on wave 5 and there was a Javelin way over there. Okay, well that's what you would do if there was a Javelin. Apologies. Much harder than I need. I'm just gonna go ahead and kill this guy. Get him out of the way. Actually, you know what? I could just be praying Preserve this whole time, no reason not to. Yet again, these early waves, it's really, people don't tend to struggle with these if they have any idea what they're doing, and kind of boring, so just kind of have to chug through it. Okay, wave 5. Waves that might do something. We'd love to see Solar Flare here. We'll want to lock that in early. One unfortunate hit there. Notice Manticore's charging up, so we're going to prioritize dealing with him correctly first. Get ready to off-tick this stack on the north side. So we're going out with Mage first. We're chilling. We're going to be using the Mage Trap tile in a second. See that last time, I'll show you to you again. This is why we like using South Pillar. It makes things very consistent. I think consistency is king for getting your first quiver. There, that's fine. Also gonna have to, because it's such a low rank of this, we're gonna be losing some attacks. That's fine. The way to attack this is just charge directly at it. Pretty much the moment that you see it. The reason I know I'm okay doing this is because I know that that's a Mage Manticore over the side. All I have to do is just make sure that the Shaman hits either at the same time as its first attack or before it. It's not a particularly tight window to just do that. Yeah, I sometimes see people overlook that solve for what happens when you get the Jaguar stuck here and you don't want to be dealing with things. It's pretty simple. Okay, I've got enough things here. I'm going to resummon the Thrall. You're looking so good on supplies. We're in the cleanup. Okay, we're chilling. Got very lucky right there because I misclicked and hit Eagle Eye. Oops. I do not care about those arrows. They're I can pick up all of them. We're starting at the B5 tile in the next wave, by the way. I think most people wind up doing this, but I'll just explain my rationale anyway. I think any wave that you got 4 enemies, like wave 6, you want to be starting here just to make sure you've got all 3 of these spawns that could, right here, that can be like immediately around you covered and blocked. Here, Blasphemy, Solar Flare, doesn't matter. Solar Flare. Not perfect. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Just like, it's a little hard to talk in the middle of all that, but main thing that we're doing is always be attacking. Now this kind of wave, this like I guess like Tetris bend shape that we've got, this is a almost perfectly ideal scenario to be in pretty much any wave. Like we like having this because it makes everything that we do very simple. We get to fight these guys single file. Not to grab. Involves like just a little bit of, not even truly flicking, just alternating. Respect the Solar Flare. No reason to get killed by that. Especially since it's so slow moving. Once we're done with this wave, I'm going to be potting again. You'll notice now we're at the point where everything's going to be just a single enemy. Not going to be having to off-tick anything despite the fact that we've got 5 enemies on screen right now. A little bit slow, but that's fine. Not looking to get super fast, especially with this gear. Perfect. Okay. Definitely going to be something out there for all. It's going to be at least a minute and a half to kill everything here. With extra DPS would be handy. I'm going to talk a little bit about invocations while we're waiting. So, in my opinion, if you have the opportunity, you want Blasphemy, Myopia, and Solar Flare pretty much every time, and that's even if you're doing range setup for waves. These three, which turns into 9 invocations total, right there, usually winds up being your easiest and most consistently easy invocations that you can get. And some people don't necessarily know that when you get an invocation, it seems to have a priority to or preference to want to give you that same invocation again, but leveled. So that's why we're trying to lock in some of these invocations as early as possible. It's also why we got Myopia 3 when we did, because by getting that out of the way, we can now open ourselves up to more opportunities for invocations that we may want to be taking later, like maybe like Relentless One or Doom. And it also helps us avoid taking invocations that we absolutely want to steer clear of. Pull this guy a little closer where we want to be. There we go. Perfect. Alright, this is going to be the first wave with the Shockwave in it. Do I want Volatility? I think Volatility's fine. I could take... it would have also been fine to take Solar Flare here. I know some people are very scared of a very big mistake right there. See if I get punished for it. Yep. Did get punished, but not lethally. Okay, that's what I get for trying to talk at the same time. We're gonna let the Solar Flare pass, and I'll explain what I'm doing next. Just gotta get this off tick set up. Minotaur's gonna roll up, he's gonna get stuck on this javelin, and then everything will be good. So it's just gonna be mage, then range, mage, melee. Now I have to use the trick for, not even trick, use the range switch here, because we can actually just run over and fight the Minotaur here. It's kind of like, sometimes I like keeping it stuck here, sometimes I want to release it. Yeah, when you got setups where you're two-shotting the Berserker, and maybe like this time when you're going to be going in for the shot with a trident, Myopia can kind of bite you in the butt a little bit. So I understand why some people might dislike that one. It's usually just a "are you paying attention" kind of thing. It also didn't help that I walked out and took a ranged hit because I misclicked. Whatever your setup it is that you're going to be using, you really just want to get consistent with it. I'm not going to be consistent with this setup because I've literally never used it like this before. I'm going to have to repot in the middle of the next wave, which is going to be a little bit awkward. That's fine. The Volatility was not my top choice there, but it's definitely acceptable. If you take Volatility 1, the great thing about it is you may as well go all the way to Volatility 3. Because it does not increase how much damage you take, and it doesn't really fundamentally change how you solve anything after the first rank. The only thing that's a little questionable is the third one can rag your tiles, and you may want to be mindful about which tiles are being ragged. Get everything up. Ooh, this is a rough one. I'm gonna take Frailty in this instance. Alright, I'm just gonna tell you up front, this is gonna be a rough one. Oh, no, never mind, he did not go where I thought he would. Chillin'. There we go. Everything's right where I want it to be. So that guy moved up, moved back into the explosion was, and we're good. Alright, so great thing here, I did not actually proc that Manticore. That could help me, maybe. Anytime you're starting a wave, you want to avoid proccing any Manticores needlessly. Make sure he pulls up like this. I mentioned this last time, that was kind of This is tick perfect. You don't have to be tick perfect doing this. It's not necessary. Save from the explosion. And we're on the Minotaur now. Here, you know what? We're gonna off tick this, and we're gonna 50-50 this. We're gonna see, do I get a Mage Manticore just to make the solve easier? I'm gonna try to make sure I'm only destacking it when it's actually important that I be destacking things. And when this runs out, I'm just gonna repot with a regular Super Combat. Grab these arrows while I'm waiting for the timer to run out. Grabbing one of these. Unlucky. Also, I take a range hit because I'm not paying attention. Yeah, I'm destacking this. I can't be asked to do Z stacks, especially when I'm in gear this fragile. So, what we're gonna be doing? Prayers up. Here, over here. Come over here. We didn't even take damage. Love it. We just kill these one at a time. We're chilling. I'm just gonna let the Blood Fury try to do its thing. I'm just camping Blood Fury this time. Yes, using Rancor Torture would kill things faster, but let's keep it simple. If I was worried about optimization, I would not be using this gear. Wait for the Solar Flare to pass. Pretty much anytime you got 2 mobs on you. Oh boy, that was nearly it. You want to be aiming for the more fragile one first. One's gonna die faster. Mr. Prayer Switch, nearly maximally punished. I think their max hit's like a 47 or something. So, almost max hit. But that's fine. But we got all these supplies for. I'm not even going to be brewing here because I don't think it's necessary. This next wave, as I mentioned the last time, is very safe. Yeah, and we got some good. We take Blasphemy. It's not even maxed out yet. It's only Blasphemy. So you just lock that in. Get our Trident equipped. Moving. Oh, I did not realize he saw me. That's why you gotta make sure you do not charge Manticore before you're ready to deal with it. I'm feeling how slow this is. In this instance, Minotaur's gonna pull up and get caught, but we're fine with that. There's another prayer there, but it didn't get punished. I hope this is also kind of revealing how many mistakes you can truly make and be fine. Because this is not clean gameplay by any stretch, and my armor is not going to be saving me under pretty much any circumstance. Just taking a gauge here, see the Thrall's ending, so we resummon it. Really hoping Blood Fury decides to turn on at some point. That'd be fantastic. I'm not. I went in way too early on that one. That's fine. I'm actually gonna. So in this next one, wave 10, I'm actually gonna be invocations. I'm gonna brew at the end of the wave. See what invocations we got. See how big of a threat everything is. But like I'd like to be repotting anyway. Here's a good time to start actually using supplies. And I'm not going to be speccing him because I want to go into wave 10 with full spec. I absolutely have to drop a SGS spec on a ranger. I want the option to do it, even though I usually think it's a pretty bad idea. And we're on the B5 tile because there's 4 mobs here. Okay, cool. We got some good ones. I'm taking Solar Flare here. Normally I say you want to focus on getting new invocations before, but we're approaching wave 10. We've actually got quite a few locked in at this point. I'm really okay with most combinations of anything that will be offered at this point. So I want to get Solar Flare out of there. And also I just like it moving faster. Let's brew a little bit. Okay, we're max health is 90 here, so we just go up to that point. Super combat. Trident on. Let me double. Trident is on accurate instead of long range. That would explain some of these misclicks. Make sure your Trident's on long range. It's very important. Prey range. Go. Play it. See. Okay, everything is same tick. Alright, perfect. Wave's pretty much solved. All that's left is just the mage trap. I don't know, there's something about me with Solar Flare. If I see a non-level 3 Solar Flare, I start getting tripped up on it. Took a little extra hit because I tried leaving early. Necessarily recommend that. I'll just tell you now. We're gonna be looking for. Yeah, okay, here we go. This is what I'm talking about. You end up in a situation like this. You got wave 10 or 11. And then you've got this really ugly looking stack right here. You can only kill the front thing, and then you got this further away Manticore. Do you really want to risk trying to make sure that you got everything here off-ticked correctly? You don't necessarily have to. You can just fix that with a small range switch. Even something as garbage as this will do the trick. My switch is a Crystal Bow, Black Dragon Hide top and bottom. And people say that this is I'm trying to bring extra gear for a situation that doesn't come up very often, and I respectfully disagree. I think the situation happens often enough that if you're going for your first quiver, it is better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. It's going to take an extremely long period of time because Crystal Bow's DPS is quite bad. I brought the minimum number of switches I could figure out that would give me a reasonable accuracy at a very low price, which is pretty much just a black D-hide top and bottom. Oh, thank God I don't have to be wearing that anymore. Hopefully I don't have to do that on wave 11 as well, but we will see. Yeah, notice where we're at in supplies. We've got 10 doses of brew, we've got 6.5 full super restores. And then more than enough potions for anything Soul's sending our way. Like, yeah, we've got a lot of prayer bonus, but also this gear does not increase our DPS whatsoever. I just think it looks cool. Like, if you've got Blood Moon, Bandos, Torva, Fighter, Torso, even the Obsidian armor, maybe, like, all of those things are actually going to make you hit harder and kill things faster. There's no advantage to using prayer gear here. I'm really just trying to illustrate a point. Moving out of the way there. Something that some people don't know about the Solar Flare is that it takes every single movement it's taking is exactly 5 ticks, which actually lines up with pretty much every single attack cycle that you're gonna see in the Colosseum. Everything except for the Fremnix is on a 5-tick timer. Right here, you notice I'm not even taking my own advice and hitting the wrong enemy. Fix that. What happens when you're trying to talk while doing things? Start talking and you stop thinking. We've got so much supplies. End of this wave, I'm going to be repotting. Yeah, ending this with 6 full restores left. So I've got the whip in the very bottom of the inventory. That thing does not get touched until Soul Herod it. Prep for wave 11. Pretty confident that we're going to be good here. Okay, awesome. Choices here. I don't think there's any necessarily bad choices. I wouldn't bother leveling up Volatility any further here. I think maxing out Blasphemy is pretty free. If I get either Frailty 2 or Volley 2 next, or for Soul, that's fine. I could take Doom here. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think maxing out Blasphemy in a case like this is just a safer pick. So we're going to be doing that. Pot up. Make sure you get prayers correct. Moon. Lagging a little bit, but alright, we're in the exact same scenario we were in last time. Just Shockwave instead of something else. Instead of a Javelin, it's a Shockwave. Grab this guy. This is extra easy. We're gonna re-range bot. We want to do as much damage as possible. If you have a Fire Cape or Infernal Cape, that actually does get positive bonuses. Pretty much everything here except for the Dragon Boots actually give me positive bonus to range attack, which I think the helmet might not, but that doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and do this. I would say at this point, I'm wave solved. It's not even necessary to be lazy flicking rigor like I am. It's gonna be the first time in a long while that I've fought Soul Herod with a Vortec weapon, so it's gonna be a little bit awkward for me going for this. And it's also going to take considerably longer to kill him than what I'm accustomed to. But this will probably be a lot more accurate to what you could hope a first soul kill will look like for you if you're going for something, if you're trying to kill him without a scythe. I want to be a little bit realistic here and say any weapon that's not a scythe is going to be a lot slower on soul. So we'll get a good view of that here. Fly is looking fantastic. I'm not even remotely worried about that. We want to kill the Javelin first here. Especially in this kind of scenario. These guys are off-tick in a way that makes it so I have to pray 4 things back to back. I don't like doing that, so let's just kill the thing that's going to die faster to shorten this amount of prayer switching I have to do. All we're doing is just removing opportunities where I could be making a mistake. Explosion. Get to the north side. It'd be absolutely hilarious if I end up getting a drop offered here. So far, this loot is actually looking quite bad. Normally, you can expect somewhere between 1.5 to 2 mil, and I'm getting about half that. And most of the loot that you'll be getting if you decide to start farming soul is going to be coming from the splinters that you can get from trading in the quiver. Alright, let's got that. We didn't bring a Dragon Warhammer or an Elder Maul. Oh, what do you know? We got a nice little sweatshirt. take a look at these options. I think it's pretty safe to say Relentless is the safest option here. As I mentioned before, Soul Heretic does not roll against your defense like a normal NPC would. Anytime you mess up a mechanic, you're just guaranteed to take the damage. And what all Relentless will do is increase its maximum hit by, or minimum hit by 1. So it's gonna have almost no impact, whereas these other things could. Actually, that being said, I'm gonna take Volatility instead, because all this is gonna do is make him blow up bigger. These are very good invocations to be getting for Soul. You don't want to be taking Frailty if you can avoid it. Just because you don't want to be pushing yourself closer to the point where like the laser or the third hit of this parry could one-shot you. Like to be avoiding that. We got so much supplies. We're gonna actually go over max. Or go straight to 99 there. Lock in Volatility or Prayer, and we're just gonna be whipping him until he dies. Nothing else to it. I don't have any accidents with styles being wrong. I'm going to be dropping ticks all over the place. Something about Soul Heretic. Faster weapon is actually going to result in losing more ticks trying to hit him. Anything else? It's a little frustrating when he decides to do something like that, where two adjacent tiles, like you know that there's going to be a laser underneath your feet, because there always is. But then he puts one directly adjacent to you in an area that you were going to go. Alright, now we phase transitions. It's going to be Spear 1 next. Know this. Your phase transition always has a spear attack afterwards. We can always play around that. I'm feeling for everybody who had to do this with a whip. Moving over here because I was worried I'd get hit there. What I'm trying to do is keep good uptime as best as I can. If I have to lose a tick to get in the correct position or dodge an attack, it's fine. Now, something about those lasers that happen, they only last for the duration of pretty much one of his attacks, regardless of what that is. Fortunately, not much interesting to talk about here. Got a second perfect parry. Spear 2 next. 1. We're gonna take a hitter. That's fine. Okay, that took quite a while, but we got him. And we got a cool sweater for the process. So, yeah, this was a 31-minute kill for the entire thing. Let's just take a gander real quick. Like, move the UI over here. Yeah, we just take a notice. You saw my starting supplies. All of these empty slots. These were all super restores to begin with. This is what I ended with. I made plenty of mistakes in the process, but just by having a plan of where you're going, knowing what you want to be killing in what order, and knowing how to be navigating around the corner of the of this southwest pillar. Actually, where even is it? Southwest is this direction. Southwest pillar. Knowing where I'm going to be going around this, that I want to be starting off west. Just show this off right now. Start off west, go south to make sure everything on the north side's lined up if I have to, and then go back west so that way the reinforcements get blocked in the way I like. Trying to consistently make it so every single wave is solved the exact same way, because I think that's the best way to try to learn the Colosseum. And it looks like as my reward, I get a cute little sweater, and I'm also going to be handing them this quiver for 4,000 splinters. Hope all of that was helpful. Maybe this will give you a more realistic expectation of what your first KC can look like. This one was 31 minutes. I think my last one was 26. So it's only a few minutes faster having absolute max melee. But anyway, hope this helps somebody, and good luck getting your first quiver.